In this problem, we have a triangle ABC. It's a right triangle, and the right angle is at C. We need to find the values of the 6 trig functions for angle B, not angle A, if side B is 8 and side C is 11. I think the first thing it's always very useful to do is just draw a picture. So you sketch out your right triangle, and the right angle is given as C. So we know that the side opposite angle C has to be the side little c. And we know C, the hypotenuse, is 11. Now it doesn't matter whether I call this angle A or this angle A. So I'm just going to call this one angle A and this one angle B. And once we've done that, make sure you label the sides correctly. The side opposite angle B is little b. So side B we know is 8. The side opposite angle A is side A. And we're asked to find the trig functions for angle B. So before I do that, I want to look at the sides A, B, and C and find their relationship to my angle B. So let's look at this side here. So side B is opposite angle B. So this is opposite to angle B. This side here, the side opposite the right angle, is always the hypotenuse. And then really angle B has 2 adjacent sides, A and C, but the C is always called the hypotenuse. So little a, side A, is the side that is adjacent to angle B. So this one is adjacent to angle B. So now what we're going to do is we're going to find all 6 trig functions using the definitions of opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse. But before I can do that, I need to know all 3 sides. I know B, I know C, I've got to find A. And since I have a right triangle, I'm going to use Pythagoras. And remember, that's A squared plus B squared equals C squared. It's important that the 1 squared by itself has to be the largest side, which is the hypotenuse. So I don't know what A is, so I know A squared plus B is 8. So 8 squared is C squared, which is 11 squared. So I have A squared plus 64 is 121. So now I need to subtract 64 from both sides, if I can get my pen to work. And I get A squared equals 57. 121 minus 64 is 57. Now, since this is in a right triangle, A is going to equal the positive square root of 57. Because it's in a right triangle, I cannot have a negative length on one of the sides. So now I know all 3 sides of my right triangle. So now I can find all my trig functions. So remember, the sine of angle B, and remember to do this, let me write the mnemonic up here. Hopefully you've all learnt the mnemonic, SOHCAHTOA. And what does that mean? The sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangent is opposite over adjacent. So sine of B is opposite over the hypotenuse, And what is the side that's opposite angle B? It's little b. So it's going to be 8 over the hypotenuse, which is 11. So I found the sine of angle B. I can immediately then find its reciprocal function. The cosecant function is just the reciprocal of this. How do you take the reciprocal of a fraction? You just flip it upside down. So now I know that the sine of angle B is 8/11 and the cosecant of B is 11/8. So now I can go on and find the cosine of angle B. Using the mnemonic, it's adjacent over hypotenuse. And who's the side that's adjacent to angle B? It's A, which we found was the square root of 57, over the hypotenuse, which is 11. Immediately find its reciprocal. The reciprocal of the cosine function is the secant function. So the secant of B is now, take the reciprocal of the cosine. It's 11 over the square root of 57. And in some of the problems, they let you leave the answer like that, but often, especially in my math lab, they're going to make you rationalize the denominator, which means multiply numerator and denominator by the square root of 57. So I'm going to get 11, the square root of 57 over 57. So now I know the cosine of B is the square root of 57 over 11, and the secant of angle B is 11 times the square root of 57 over 57. And the last one I need to find is the tangent of angle B, which, looking at our mnemonic, is opposite over adjacent. My opposite side is 8. My adjacent is A, which is the square root of 57. And if I want to rationalize the denominator on that one, I'm going to get 8, the square root of 57 over 57. So I now know the tangent of B is that. And the last one is the cotangent of B is the reciprocal of the tangent function. So just flip this part upside down before we rationalize the denominator. So it's going to be the square root of 57 over 8. So only in these problems, only rationalize the denominator if you're told to. If you're not, you can leave answers that look like this and look like this. One thing I forgot to mention earlier on was you should always try and simplify this radical. But remember, the square root of 57 is just the square root of 3 times 19. Since 19 is prime and 3 are prime, I can't factor it anymore. Therefore, I just leave it as the square root of 57.